Welcome back, everybody. This is Todd Sylvester with the Todd Sylvester Inspires Belief Cast. Thank you for joining us. I'd like to thank our sponsor, Veracity Networks, and my good friend, Drew Peterson. Thank you for sponsoring us and believing in me. I'd also like to thank Paul Cardall for the beautiful music that we just listened to. And I'd like to thank all of you. Thank you for spending some time each and every week listening to these amazing people that I have on this Belief Cast. It just blows my mind. And we just hit over 100,000 downloads, and we've hit this tipping point, and it's just blowing up, and I'm just blows my mind. But it's not because of anything other than these amazing people coming on, sharing their beautiful stories with us. And today's no different. Today we have Madelyn Birchall. Thank you for joining us, Madelyn.
Thanks for having me, Tom.
Yeah, and I know her as Mads, and she's a coach at Orangetheory and one of the managers as well. And so I've known her as Mads, and I go to her class every week, and she's one of the most positive, most confident, energetic people I've ever met. And every time I would see you, I'm like, I got to have her on because just the fire you live, but you also have an amazing life too that I want people to hear about your story. And a little background, you have 10 siblings.
I do.
Right?
Yeah.
And are you the youngest?
I am the caboose.
The caboose.
Yeah.
Wow. Number
I'd
11.
like to think they saved the best for last.
Yeah, that's probably true. It's probably true. And I know that you've played volleyball, softball, basketball. One of your first words was ball, right?
Yeah.
Is that right?
Yeah. In fact, I believe in my journal, my mom wrote something about I was 3 days old and I went to one of my brother's basketball games. So sports have been a huge part of my life for sure.
Yeah. Wow. I want to talk more about that.
Yeah.
And you've got a bachelor's degree in kinesiology?
Kinesiology.
Kinesiology, man.
Yeah.
I butchered it.
It's it's the study of the human body in motion,
Okay.
which is kind of what got me into the love and field that I work in now. So
Yeah, so you've been a personal trainer for 10 years.
Yeah.
For the last 3 years, again, like we mentioned just a minute ago, you're a coach and studio manager at Orangetheory.
Yeah.
That place is amazing, by the way.
Yeah,
I mean,
it is the best.
yeah, and we'll talk more about what that is for our listeners to understand that. And then I know that you talk about how Orangetheory has really opened your eyes up to unlock and unleash your, the limitless potential.
Yeah.
And I want to talk about that as well.
Definitely. I think that it's something that I have always, there's been a piece of my life that I knew was always kind of missing little puzzle pieces here and there that I felt like maybe I was a little bit different, or I
Right.
thought, or things were a little bit peculiar to me in my thought process and whatnot as to what type of impact we each have on individuals that we come in contact with. And I think that became a lot more clear in my time at Orangetheory because it put me in a position to be a hand in other people's happiness. And I think that not everyone necessarily is meant to do that,
Yeah.
but I've been blessed in that department that I truly do find joy in helping other people. And I get to do that every single day. And it's the biggest gift for sure.
Well, and I know you obviously are a very confident woman and the way you carry yourself, but I know it hasn't always been like that. But before we kind of get into all that, I want to talk about growing up with 10 siblings.
Mm-hmm.
What was that like, and what was it like growing up in California?
So I'm from small town country living. It's called Hughson, California. So to my right and left of our house out in the country, we have almonds. Out in the front, we have persimmons. In the back, we have cherries. I grew up in a small town, went to a small high school that all 11 of us Birchall children went to. So when I was going through Hughson High School, the teachers, of course, landed a bang with me finishing up there, but didn't know what they were going to do without any more Birchalls.
Yeah,
So,
I bet.
and we talked a little bit, Todd, about my experience in sports and whatnot, but I think one thing that I think is important to highlight, some of the other things that I did in my childhood, and part of that impact was my parents, namely my mom. She made a rule when we were young. In order to play sports, which was a given, we're all super athletic, we had to play the piano and one other instrument.
Really?
Could you guess what I played?
I'm going to say electric guitar.
No? I was a trumpet player.
Trumpet?
Yeah.
Really?
From 5th grade through my senior year in high school. So all of us Birchall kids, we were not just jocks, but we played music and I was in, student council, just very involved.
Sure.
And I think that is part of what allowed me to get exposed to so many different people and whatnot. And I loved every single one of them.
Did you enjoy playing a musical instrument, or it was almost like, okay, I'll just get through this so I can go play my sports?
I loved it.
Oh,
I really did.
Okay.
It was kind of different how my high school did it. I think a lot of people were like, wait, you were in band? Just don't expect that from me. But our high school, if you were in band, the entire band went to every single year, Disneyland, California Adventure, Medieval Times, and we performed at Disneyland and stuff. So it was kind of a no-brainer. If you wanted to go on this sweet trip with your friends, you were in band,
Sure, yeah.
So I actually, to this day, I'll hear a certain jazz song or something. I'm like, man, I miss playing the trumpet,
Really?
So I was in concert band, symphonic band, jazz band, pep band, you name it. I was in it, and I do miss it. I really do. Can't promise how I do on a trumpet these days, but I loved it,
I would imagine, because I hear this from a lot of people who have played an instrument, whether it's the piano or something else, it taught them, whether they liked it or not, it taught them discipline. Do you feel like that was a big part of kind of, forming the way you live your life with discipline?
For sure. Yeah, I think that it requires a certain level of commitment because you have to practice. Just like any sport I played, I had to practice to thrive, and same thing with any instrument I played. And as a result, it allowed me to play in some, all-state honor band, first chair trumpet, goofy things that I would have never anticipated in a million years. In fact, I have a funny memory of being at this all-state honor band concert where I had to get up to go do my solo, and I was waddling up there because my tights had fallen about to my knees.
Serious?
And I was up there about to perform my solo, nervous already, and then this had happened. So I have lots of great memories, but yes, it definitely taught discipline. It definitely taught the importance of practice, and it definitely in so many ways blessed my life for sure.
Yeah, that's awesome. What was it like with having that many siblings? I mean,
my goodness.
I picture just chaos.
So it's interesting because when I was born, my first, I want to say 3 siblings were already out of the house.
Okay.
So my oldest sister and myself being the youngest, there's a 24-year age gap.
Okay.
So when I was 18 months, I was an aunt. I was Aunt Manny. Yeah.
Wow.
So I broke the tie for us ladies. I have 5 older brothers, 5 older sisters, and then came me. Yeah. But it was, I don't know any different. People will be like, what was that like? Did you like it? And my memory is just a lot of chaos for sure, but a lot of fun.
Yeah,
my family is so loving, so fun. Everyone's hilarious. We're always doing, different activities that keep us all engaged. And so it was amazing.
Yeah. Wow.
I feel super grateful for that.
Yeah. And I imagine it was a lot of fun. I mean, but what was it like, like dinner time or like, everyone needs to use the bathroom at the same time. I mean, that had to have been kind of crazy.
Yeah. I think being the very youngest, I thankfully didn't have to compete with all 10 of them for space and so on and so forth. And I will say I probably don't have too many memories of just extreme chaos because of the way that my parents, namely my mother, conducted our family.
Okay.
And it was her influence of just, I woke up every morning to a warm cooked breakfast. I left the house, whether it be for school or practice or whatever, with a lunch made for me. I came home to a clean room, laundry done, floors were mopped, and then a warm dinner at our dinner table for us all to have together.
Wow.
So I was really lucky.
Yeah.
Very fortunate.
Well, talk a little bit about that influence you got from your parents and maybe even specifically your mom.
Yeah.
So what were some of the things that you learned from her and that kind of you still incorporate in your life today?
Yeah. So I would say one of the biggest life lessons from my dad was he is just a total sweetheart. That guy is kind to everyone. He is the type of guy, he's sitting at his gate at an airport and he already knows this man sitting next to him, job, family background, where he came from, what he's done. He's just a friendly guy, and I've always admired that about him. I thought he was kind of goofy at times for it, but I think to see that consistency in him still to this very day has been really special. And then with my mom, she managed to impact a lot of lives in her time on earth with us, and many, many life lessons. In fact, I have a number of tattoos on my body. On the right side, they're all personal life lessons, and the ones on the left side are life lessons from my mom.
Really?
So, yeah.
Wow. Yeah, I did not know that. I don't think I think I've seen one or two of them, during the class that we do. But, so you mentioned that your mom, you kind of alluded to your mom has passed away.
She did, yeah. She passed away 8 years ago when I was 20.
When you were 20, okay. Do you mind talking a little bit about that? Obviously, a difficult time for everybody. Talk about what happened and what led to that, and how it impacted you.
So, you heard me mention just how fortunate I was with her influence in my life, and she lived to be a loving mother, and she was exactly that. One of my tattoos on my back of my left elbow, it says 110, and every time I would leave the house, regardless of what it was for, a big game, a big test, or a hard conversation, it didn't matter. She gave me one more look before I left the door and said, Manny, do your best, give 110%. And so I definitely felt that pressure growing up to deliver and give 100%, 110%. And it definitely instilled some great tenacity, if you will, in just about everything I've done. And I think those were lessons that I learned at such a young age that ultimately carried me to do a lot of what I've done. And part of that is in my sports allow me to go play college basketball. I was a 12 sport award is what they called it at our high school. I played 3 sports for all 4 years. I played basketball, softball, and volleyball.
That's amazing.
And got offers for all 3 and ended up deciding to play basketball.
Okay.
And I went to Virginia to play my freshman year. And this was a childhood dream of mine, to go play a college sport. And so I went out to Virginia my freshman year. And unfortunately, in the first semester is where that dream kind of came tumbling down because I got kicked off the team and I lost my scholarship for dating one of my teammates.
Oh, really?
Yes. So that was challenging. I moved from California to Virginia across the United States to go fulfill a lifelong dream, and that got stripped from me pretty quick. So I had to call my parents, let them know that I withdrew from my freshman year in college because they gave me the option, hey, we know you're here on a basketball scholarship that you're no longer going to have, so you can continue to go to school and continue your education, or you can withdraw. And that was on a Friday, and I asked, how do I go about doing that? And they said, matter of signing some paperwork. So I signed the paperwork, and I moved to Utah actually on Sunday.
Really?
So I moved to Utah when I was 18.
Okay.
And I lived here in Utah briefly for about 6 months.
Okay.
And to be honest, I was too scared to go home.
So that's
why
where
I
you're trying
didn't
to
go home.
So okay, so wow. So did your parents know? Obviously that you're attracted to women, and did they have any idea, or is that something you kind of knew younger but you didn't share it? Just give us that background.
So I think at that time, I thought fully I was pulling the wool over my parents' eyes. They had no idea what was going on, but boy, was I fooling myself. And I think they knew a lot more than what I anticipated.
What you thought of, yeah.
So my mom, being the graceful individual that she is, when I moved to Utah, I moved to my sister's house briefly, and the timing worked out great to where I moved to Utah. My birthday's in January, so I was turning 19, and my mom came out to Utah for my birthday.
Okay.
And she had a sit-down conversation with me, and in a very graceful way kind of just said, like, now does this, like, make a little bit more sense? I remember that question, and
really?
I remember being like, what is she talking about? Does this make more sense? So it wasn't something that I was too transparent, open, and honest about. And I think part of that was being the youngest of 11 kids. My parents were a little bit older. In fact, growing up, a lot of my friends, their parents were the same age as my older siblings. Right. They went to high school with my older siblings.
Okay.
So my parents were like everyone else's grandparents. And so I think I shied away from that emotional connection with them and having those intimate conversations that I so wish I would have had now.
Right. Yeah, sure.
But then that's when we kind of had that first talk about, introducing things with my sexuality and kind of even understanding what that even meant. And what
was
that
this
like.
after? So you went to Utah.
Yep.
After which was this after you? Did you go back?
I did not. No. So I was in Utah for 6 months, and then kind of around the end of the 6 months, and major blessing in disguise, my parents convinced me to come home. So I moved back to California.
Okay.
And I figured, you know what? Gosh, this is devastating. I've lost a childhood dream of mine, but I might as well continue my education. So I enrolled at the local junior college. Okay. The same day that I enrolled, the basketball coach there called me and said, "You're enrolled in my school. You're playing for my team."
Really?
Yeah. So I did. Wow. And major blessings in disguise that everything worked out the way that it did, because it got me back home. And I was actually at basketball practice when I was in a routine water break. I went over to get some water. I looked at my phone. I had tons of missed calls and a voicemail from my dad. And in the voicemail, I could tell his tone of voice that something was not right, And so I called him, and his voice was just shaky. And what he said was, "Honey, we lost Mom." And I remember just hearing myself say that just sends chills down my spine, But that's when I caught wind and news that I had lost my mom at 20 years old. Wow. So that was...
Had she been sick? Did you know, or was it an accident?
So, I did not know, and no one in our family really did, outside of one of my sisters that she communicated with a little bit more often, the depth or the severity, I guess. She had what's called a cardiomyopathy, which essentially means, your heart could fail at any time. And that's what happened. But none of us, and nor would she have ever told us. Because I have so many memories growing up of her tirelessly. We would get home from church and she would get right to work baking the homemade rolls, getting ready for the family dinner that everyone that was still close to home would come to Sunday family dinner. And while we would all sit down and have this gracious meal that she spent all day, she would, I would sometimes go down to her room and she'd be taking a nap, just exhausted from all the work she put into making this perfect meal for her family. So I had an inkling that her health wasn't the best, but never knew to what extent. Yeah. So that was completely unexpected.
So you hear this news. I mean, what did you do, and how did you, how did the whole family deal with that at that time?
Man, it was devastating. She was and is and has completely left behind an absolute legacy that she created, and so we, of course, were all crushed. And I think for me, and looking back on that time now, some of the hardest things about it was that my mom saw me graduate from high school. Nothing too exciting, so she didn't really get to see me play a whole lot of college basketball. She didn't see me graduate from college. Mm-hmm. She doesn't get to see me in any of my accomplishments these days. And I think the number one thing that I wish is that I could simply have an adult relationship with my mom. Yeah. I would love that more than anything. Yeah. So, but my family, gosh, if there was ever a time that I became more and more grateful for my 10 siblings and my dad, it was then, because I can't imagine having done that alone. We each played a very vital role of keeping each other grounded and knowing that everything was going to be okay and knowing that we'd see her again. And so it was a very challenging time, and still challenging, but it's part of part of why and who I am today.
So it sounds like it brought your family even closer together.
For sure.
And which is hard to say too. I mean, meaning, you're missing your mom, everyone's missing the mom, but it brings you guys closer together. And it sounds like you guys had a much stronger connection because of it. Yeah,
definitely. And along with my 10 siblings, I have 43 nieces and nephews. The 43rd. 43? Yeah, 43rd was just born a couple weeks ago. Wow. And yes, amazing. I do know all of their names. Believe it or not, I get asked that all the time. But they all love their Mimi. They call my mom and dad Mimi and Bopo. And my mom is who gave me this nickname. And my nieces and nephews, they all call me Manny. But that's Manny. What, actually, this tattoo right here, it's it says Manny. It's in my mom's handwriting.
Oh, and, really?
Yeah. So
wow,
that's where that
amazing.
nickname came from. And yes, it definitely brought us all together, and we think about her, talk about her often. It's hard. I don't think there's been a day that's gone by since that something hasn't been brought up about her, you know?
Yeah.
So
do you still feel at times that you are close to her?
Yeah, I've had a lot of question to ask. I have one instance in particular right after she passed away. I want to say it was a couple days after that I had a very, very vivid dream that unfortunately led me to believe when I woke up that she was still there. But it was kind of one of those very vivid dreams of her, you know, showing her fingertips, telling me to come toward her to hug her, because that's one of the things I definitely miss the most, hugging my mom. But it was so impactful when I woke up. I really wasn't sure if that was real or not, if she was going to be in the kitchen making breakfast or not. And to my demise, she was not there. But my dad was, and he was bawling his eyes out, and he was just crushed. And at the time, it was just my dad and I living there by ourselves, right, at our little country town in Hughson. And it was a special experience because growing up, my dad and I didn't have the closest relationship. We tended to butt heads a little bit, and my siblings have told me as I've gotten older, it's because we're similar, I guess. Okay. But we would always butt heads and whatnot, and I think that I'm a silver linings type person. I've been through a lot of challenging things, this being one of the most challenging, but it has definitely brought my dad and I closer, and we committed to each other that day we admitted to each other first. I didn't know how to do a white laundry load. So he said, "Don't worry, honey, I'll do the whites." And I told him I'd do the coloreds, and we had each other's back from that point forward. And we knew that we would move forward hand in hand, arms linked together. And we had it.
So your dad, does he still live in that house, or? He
does. Yeah. Yeah. He's coming up actually, what's today? The 10th?
Today's the 10th. Yeah.
2 more days. December 12th will be my dad's, I want to say 77th birthday. And he is in Hughson, California at our little country home. And yep, he's still kicking. Sweetest guy as ever. That's awesome. Got a little bit of grumpy old man syndrome occasionally, but he's a sweet guy. Love him to death. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, you know, you mentioned that they say you're a lot like your dad, and you mentioned your dad's like one of the kindest, nicest, and I can see that. That's you. Like, you know, even I've brought friends into Orangetheory. You know, you've met a few of them obviously now. My family's all a part of it, and they can't say enough about you. Like, they're like, she is the nicest person. I'm sure you hear that a lot.
And that means a lot, Todd. I think true. That, thank you. Yeah. I think that as I've, my old age, as I've gotten to my old age, I have come to really realize some really important life lessons, and heck, there's still a ton of them I'm figuring out, you know, but I think one of the ones that I can fall back on the most, and a lot of this comes from just the different life experiences, but one of them, as I was coming to terms with my sexuality and my mother passing away, and kind of distancing myself from all that I knew growing up, and you know, kind of figuring myself out. One thing that I kind of looked myself in the mirror and decided for myself was, hey, if you continue to be a good person, you're kind to everyone around you, you continue to bust your buns, you work hard, you'll always come out on top. And that's been my experience, you know. And so I really have tried to work hard and be kind and love everyone, because everyone deserves that love. There's no one undeserving of love, and there is no one that isn't going through something hard. We all go through hard things every single day, and my challenges are no greater than anyone else's. And I think it's important that we remember that in our interactions. Yeah. And don't get me wrong, I can be a spicy one at times when it calls for it. Yeah. But I definitely have come to learn and know that so long as we all continue to stay kind to one another, not only is that going to impact the people around us in the most positive way, but we work hard and we love each other. We're all in this together. So. Right.
Wow, that's awesome. Thank you for sharing that. Yeah. So well said. I have a question. I wonder, how did your family, specifically your siblings, handle your sexuality when they found out that you're lesbian, right? And, and how did they treat you regarding that? Because it sounds like you guys are a tight-knit bunch.
Yeah. And you know what? It's been a journey for sure. It was something that I think was so new and maybe even unexpected for some.
Yeah.
And something that I just really didn't know how to navigate. And I think that one thing that I've learned about myself, I am the distraction queen. My whole life, and any of the hard things that I've been through, I have just got up and gone. I would just go, pick up to the next project, the next thing that I can do to continue to stay busy and continue to serve others, because I find so much joy in that. But here in my age of 28, I kind of got to a place beginning of this year where I was like, Madelyn, all of this love that you've been wanting to provide for everyone else, you need to give yourself that same love.
Right.
You need to give yourself that same attention, because I have stayed distracted for so long.
Yeah.
And part of that was, to answer your question, I think just battling things that I didn't know how to do on my own. And some of it was out of fear, not knowing how to talk to people about it or who to talk to about it. And it was something that it really has been a over 10-year journey that has slowly but surely, and in the last few years especially, just drastically gotten so much better. I have a distinct memory, and the reason I feel comfortable sharing this is because of where I'm at and my family and I are at now. But when I did, in those 6 brief months, live in Utah, I was living with one of my sisters at the time, and she was only doing what she felt was best, and probably influenced by my mom a little bit, just trying to understand a little bit of a tough love type of way. But I remember my sister almost yelling at me saying, "Are you a lesbian?" and I was, crying, and I didn't even know how to respond, because I didn't really even know what that meant or what that looked like, and so that was such a hard thing for me then. But what I realize about it now is we were all just doing our best, and we continued to do our best. And so it was something that a sibling or two was okay-ish with it, did their best to support, but then some it was like the elephant in the room. We did not talk about it. But now here we are, years and years later. And what really was the kicker for me, Todd, was I was very fortunate just with some previous relationships and help with some others that were a little bit more matured in that sense, that had similar family backgrounds or upbringings as me, that were in a more mature state at that point, that taught me the importance of living an authentic life, Wow. And
love that.
So when I was about 26, I would say was a really pivotal point for me, really turning year, that I started to kind of see for myself, the more that I really loved and accepted myself, the irony of that is everyone around me started to do the same thing.
Yeah, wow.
So the more I came to terms with who I am, what that looks like, what that means, and how that doesn't change what I have to offer the world, and how that didn't change, my spiritual gifts or talents or blessings. It's in fact a big part of what makes me,
Yeah, sure.
And so the more I continue to live authentically, my family and my friends just took me with open arms and have loved me more and more over these last few years, and it's been super special.
Wow, that's amazing. Again, very well said. I heard once, I was at the Utah State Prison. I had a speaking event there. It was really cool. But one of the inmates got up before me, and I'll never forget this. He said, "If you don't own your story, it owns you."
Yeah.
And I thought, wow. I told him after, I'm still in that. But that's really what you're saying here, is you finally just started being able to just own all of it, right? That's what I'm hearing.
Yeah.
And that's when things really started to just blossom and open up for you.
I'll never forget, and she may not even know that I still remember this, when I was having a conversation with one of my sisters about really coming to terms with everything and whatnot, her response to me was life-changing. She responded to me saying, you know what, Mads, I'm just extremely grateful and happy that you are at a place in your life where you finally get to live your authentic true self as your authentic true self.
Love it.
And when she said that, it hit me in a way that I was like, you know what? She's exactly right. I don't have to hide who I am. I don't have to pretend that even though I have preferences that are like this, that means, for example, that I love Christ any less. I have a relationship with my Savior. I love him, and he has gotten me through so many hard things. And I'm so grateful for that relationship that I still have and the impact that it plays in my life, despite being what I thought for so many years made me so different. It's actually part of what makes me special. I'm grateful for that realization.
I love that. Wow, you're choking me up, Mads. Well, I think what you're saying too is at the end, we're all so much alike anyways. We really are. At the end of the day, we're all the same. I really think that. And it's so beautifully said. So how do you, people who know you, I guarantee anyone listening to this that knows you, they'll be like, yeah, she's confident, she's strong, she's authentic, like you were saying. What does your day look like? How do you keep yourself in that kind of, I guess, mindset? How do you stay present? What do you do? What does your day look like for you?
Yeah, and that's a really good question. It's a thought-provoking question that I think each of us should ask ourselves every single day. Or if it's something you haven't, begin to ask yourself now. Because like I mentioned earlier, I'm this January about to be 29 years old, and I've had some of the most impactful life realizations in just the last few years, and that being one of them. What does my everyday activity look like, and how does that impact my life, and how does that impact the people around me? And so I would say, my day to day, I wake up, pretty normal stuff. Don't worry, I do brush my teeth, and
well, that's good. We appreciate that.
I get up pretty early. There's a lot of mornings I'm at the studio at 4:30 a.m. Yeah. Todd usually beats me there, though.
I'm an early riser.
He is. And you know what? My Tuesday mornings, for example, that's when I coach the early morning crew. And if I wasn't there coaching, doing that, I don't know that I could be getting up at those hours.
Right.
But because it's that I'm doing, man, it is the most rewarding, fun, invigorating time of my life to spend spend that hour with that group of individuals that come in every single day to truly become a better version of themselves.
For sure.
Because guess what? I'm doing that same thing.
Yeah.
And so my
awesome.
Goal is that through coaching, I can share my love and passion for fitness to everyone. And it kind of is attached to losing my mom due to health reasons. If I can help prevent another young 20-year-old of losing their mom, or a mom, losing their own life for their kids. And just ultimately the mental health aspect of things, that has been a new concept for me.
Yeah.
I think that if mental health, the stigma of it, I feel like in years previous, it's kind of been something that we haven't really talked about, at least my experience growing up and whatnot. Not like we pretended everything was fine, but I think a lot of people choose not to talk about hard things because it's uncomfortable.
Right.
But it's through that discomfort that ultimately opens up doors for growth. And I thrive off uncomfortable conversations with my friends, with my family, with my members at Orangetheory, because it really a lot of the times allows us to dig a little bit deeper and come to terms with some hard truths. And that's happened a lot for me in the last few years. Some of the ways that I need to take some personal inventory every single day and realize how I can be better and how I can continue to grow and how I can continue to be an instrument to help other people.
Yeah.
So.
Well, that's awesome. Well, I can, with that mindset about what you're doing at Orangetheory when you're coaching everybody and, saying, I could be helping someone, prevent them from, losing someone, or them being healthy to a point where it's going to, on some level save their life, right? Yeah. You can see that passion and energy come out in you when you're there. It really, really is another level. I'm not just saying that. Like, you talk to anybody, they'll tell you that.
Thank you, John.
Yeah. And I love your playlist too. You got the best music.
I love music.
It's so good. I can tell you do.
I think that goes back to my music roots. Yeah. There's minimal trumpet in my playlist, but
I was going to say, when's the trumpet going to come out?
I do love music, and I think that's a big part of the energy that your class provides.
Yeah. For sure.
So yeah, that's a big part of it that I love.
Yeah. So if someone wanted to reach out to you and like get to know you better, or ask you a question about how did you get to the point where you're carrying yourself like this? What's a good way that they could reach out to you
and reach out to me personally?
Uh-huh.
Gosh, I mean,
whatever you're comfortable with sharing.
I am the first to pass out my cell phone number, to be honest with you. Even on my business cards, I've always preferred that it's on there, because in my personal opinion, there's no better way to really make someone feel valued and loved than make it personal, you know?
Sure.
And sure, you can DM me on Instagram, you can send me a message or write me a note, whatever, but shoot me a text, give me a call, or let's meet up for lunch. I would love to have that face-to-face connection time with you. And but yeah, I invite that to anyone.
Yeah, I love it. What's your Instagram handle?
My Instagram handle is McMads_21.
Okay.
So MCMADS_21.
Yeah.
21 was my basketball number. So.
Oh, right on.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I want to also talk about, just before we wrap this up, is, and this isn't last but not least kind of thing. Well, it is, but let's talk about Cassie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would love to.
When did you meet her, and talk about your life with her?
Yeah. I met Cassie, who is my girlfriend. I met her a little over a year ago, and it was, gosh, I probably have never seen God or my mom or the universe or karma play out so distinctly in my life than the way I met Cass, the timing of it all, and in what ways she saved me. I have a few lifelines in life. One of them is absolutely fitness. It's been a major lifeline for me, an outlet that has allowed me to maintain mental health. But Cass has been a major lifeline for me. The positivity and just pure love of Christ that she has provided for me has just been outstanding and unmatched. Amazing. She loves me unconditionally. So I'm super grateful to her for that. She and I met actually at Orangetheory in Orem. I was at that studio at the time. I was her coach. She was one of my members there, and I didn't realize it, but she had the hots for me for about 6 months, and which gratefully for me, I was in the midst of transitioning to other locations and whatnot, and she didn't know how to act on that, because I actually am the first female she's ever been with. And so that was a tricky 6 months of navigating for her, which I've had plenty of years under my belt of navigating. So
sure.
The timing of my transitions was her timing of figuring out some of that. And when we finally did introduce ourselves to each other and begin to chat, it was perfect from the very beginning. Cassie has the most beautiful heart, and she loves very hard, and she loves me the most. She is a trauma nurse at Utah Valley Hospital.
Cool. Right on.
A dang good one at that. She's a very smart girl. She's a student of life.
I respect trauma nurses and the stuff they have to deal with and how they handle it. It's amazing, right?
The world definitely needs more people like Cassie, because I don't handle blood and needles very well. I'm all about the emotional, let's connect, let's create relationships, let's listen to good music and work out hard. But she does things on a different level I could never do. So I commend her for that. Definitely.
Well, it sounds like you guys are just like a perfect match, and things are going really well there.
Yeah. In fact, we just built a townhome, and we just moved in here just literally a week or two ago
Really? Congratulations.
in Bluffdale, and thank you so much. Yeah, first home I've purchased, so that was a big deal. And our relationship is thriving, and I'm super happy. My family loves her. She came home with me for Thanksgiving.
All right.
And
cool.
They all love her. Yeah. She loves all of them, so we're really lucky. That's awesome. We're really blessed.
Well, shout out to Cassie.
Big time.
Thanks for being such a good person, Cassie. Yes. We appreciate it. And, obviously, I know she obviously loves and appreciates you like we all do. You're amazing, Mads. Seriously, you're one of my favorites. Even though you're my coach, but I also feel like I know you even beyond that. And obviously sitting here with you, hearing this firsthand, actually, I feel so much closer to you. So thank you for being willing to come take the time and share a portion of your life with us today.
I really appreciate the opportunity. If I could leave anything and something that's been super impactful for me, and you probably have gathered this, and I'm sure Todd can attest to this just with his experience with me. One thing that I learned probably around 20-ish or so, one of my previous bosses, one thing that he would harp so heavily, and it has never left my brain, he would say something to the extent of 90% of your success in this life will come from relationships. And I don't know if he made that up. I don't know if that's an actual statistic, but boy, did I believe in that. Mm-hmm. And it has been a huge life lesson for me, and something that I have tried to utilize in my life. And as I have and really honed in on the importance of relationships and making people feel loved and being kind and sharing that with other people, my life has been beyond blessed because of it. And I know that everyone out there, your life will be blessed if you focus on relationships and you are kind and you love everyone with your whole heart.
Yeah, boy, beautifully said. Connection. When we feel connected to someone, that's when we're most fully alive.
For sure.
And that's what you're saying, and cultivating these strong, powerful, healthy relationships. And kind of like you mentioned, your dad was the kindest person you ever met, and I'm sure people will say that about you. And that really is so important. The world needs this more now than ever: compassion and kindness. Absolutely. And understanding and love, right?
And that starts with yourself.
Yep.
And that's been a big learning curve for me, and something I'm still learning. And know that if you're struggling with that, it's okay to admit that. Admit that to yourself, admit that to someone you love. And it's okay to seek out professional help. I think one of the biggest helps for me have been meeting with a therapist and kind of just having a sounding board for someone to help you process your own thoughts. That's one of the most peculiar things I've learned for myself is processing my own thoughts, what that means and what that looks like. So don't be ashamed if you meet with someone and or if you even just meet with your friends or your family. It's okay if you are struggling. We all do every day, but it's with each other that we'll continue to pick each other up and continue to do this whole thing that we call life.
Yeah, beautiful. Well, there you go. Madelyn Birchall, thank you so much, Mads, for spending some time with me today. And powerful. I mean, this is just so beautiful. I want to thank all the listeners for spending some time and listening to Mad's story. Please reach out to her. And she's obviously an open book, and she would love to talk to you. She obviously loves helping other people. And check out Orangetheory, man. I'm telling you, it's intense. It's energetic. It's powerful, and you do leave there going, wow. What a great way to start off the day, man. It's my favorite part of my day, is waking up and going to do that, and seeing great coaches. All the coaches there are amazing, and you're definitely one of those. So thank you so much for taking the time today.
Thank you for having me. I really appreciate it.
Thank you, everybody. Until next time.